Hey everyone, it's Call Me Adam, and we are here live back at the Algonquin Hotel in the heart of New York City's theater district. And today we are talking with screenplay, television, and musical theater writer Michael Zam. Hi, Michael.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing okay.
Hey everybody, it's Adam, live and in person for you. Hey everybody, it's Adam, wonder who he'll interview. CallMeAdam.com.
Part of a new segment that I'm calling I Can See Clearly Now, where I'm trying to clear the air on misconceptions.
Okay.
So, as one of the writers of the show, what do you feel is one of the biggest misconceptions about Joan Crawford and Bette Davis?
I think about Joan is that she only had one side to her. You know, that she was only naked ambition and, abusive mother. But, I teach screenwriting, and one of the things I always say to my students is, when they write like killers, they have to, if they're writing that type of film, I always say, well, you have to think about the other parts of this character, because a serial killer is not a serial killer all day long.
Right.
They still have to do their laundry, and
Right.
they watch television, and they get the mail, and they go food shopping. And so when I think about, of course, she had many sides to her. And so I feel like, I definitely see why we know the other elements of her, because they're sensational, and a lot of that stuff's powerfully true. Of course it is. But I think the fact that there's more to her than that, and that she, one of the things I loved about her is that she was very close with this guy Billy Haynes, William Haynes, who was they were actors together when MGM just started in the late 20s when movies were still silent, and he was a huge star, and he was also openly gay. And when the rules came in after the stock market crash, there was, the country became very conservative.
Right.
And that's when Hollywood, which had been sort of this Eden for people with unconventional relationships, you could sort of get away with that. And the studios would also cover for you if anything happened, if word got out. Remember the production code that they used to have? They used to have this production code where, married couples had to have twin beds.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
you couldn't talk about certain subjects.
Right.
And, so that's when a lot of the actors who were not very conservative were living while, having, not living, marriages that were purely monogamous,
Right.
perhaps, or, people having gay relationships. And a lot of them were being forced to marry,
yes.
to show the idea that Hollywood was wholesome, which was a lot of it was a reaction to a fear of being blamed for everything. And Billy was the main guy who held out, because he said, "I will not." He was with somebody for many years,
Right.
great, this guy Jimmy, and he said, I'm not going to do it," and he wouldn't sign his contract, and he was blackballed. And it was really Joan and some of her other women friends. He would help them. Well, for many of those years, he had great taste, and he would help them with their homes, and they were the ones who got together and said, "We're not going to let you down," and they really helped Billy develop. They'd get him to design their homes, and of course they would get attention. And the happy ending is that not only did Billy become one of the most important interior designers of the 20th century, his stuff is still collected, that he and his husband, were together until his death.
Wow, that's incredible.
Over 40 years later. And Joan's famous for saying a quote that Billy and Jimmy had the happiest marriage in Hollywood. So I have to have affection for her just for standing by, for loyalty, and standing by somebody who's an outsider.
Is there anything that you wrote that you really wanted in one of the scripts that didn't make it in?
Little things, but that's bound to happen. And sometimes it's budgetary, the choice. But we had a scene that we really adored where, which was true. Joan was the special guest on the Miss America pageant, which was a huge TV thing. It was always the number one television event of the week, and it was live. So she got to go out and talk about. She was a representative for Pepsi, so she went out there to do the equivalent of a live Pepsi commercial with Bert Parks, the host. And we had this thing where Joan is standing on the side as the women in their bathing suits and their heels, you hear the clack of the heels, are waiting on the side, and one of the contestant says to another one, who's that? And she says, some old actress, someone who used to be famous. They say something nasty. And Joan, it's then the shots in our imagination is on Joan, and we think, oh, what is she going to do? And instead, she just stands there, and then her name is called, and she goes on, whisks across the stage, looking elegant. She and Bert Park do the thing, where they, supposedly, have an unrehearsed talk.
Right.
And he says, Miss Crawford, what would be advice that you'd have for, some of our lovely contestants dream of being an actress one day, like you. What recommendation would you give to them? Advice? And she says something like, work hard, know your craft, and drink lots of, for energy, drink lots of Pepsi Cola. It was like that type of thing.
Yeah.
And, she drinks it, there's a glass of ice, and she pours it in, and they click their glasses, and then she's off. And as she's walking off stage, Bert Park says, okay, let's bring on the bathing beauties. And just as they're passing, the moment they're going on stage, as she's going off stage, she grabs the woman who she talked to, just like touches her arm and says, I'm rooting for you, dear. And then you're sort of like, what's going on? And then 2 seconds later, you realize that she'd put her ice cubes down the woman's back.
Oh my God.
So, and it was so much fun. It was like such a fun scene, and the idea of seeing this woman sort of do this as she's walking on stage. And it was so much fun to write, and so much, and I imagined it in my head, but that scene would have cost a fortune. You have all the bathing beauties, you have all those bathing suits, you have Bert Parks, you have to have a crowd. It would have been. So I completely understand why it didn't make it.
But how fun that was.
Of course. Yeah. But there's enough other things.
Yes.
So I cannot complain.
Right.
But
right. There's a lot there.
But that's that was an example.
Yeah.
So.
Just ask anybody who's had Adam lives for the business of show. Call me Adam.com.